Hello, Barrettraven here with Good Life Realty in Austin, Texas, and I am sitting outside of probably my favorite bakery in Austin, Quack's Bakery. And today I'm just gonna do a quick market stats update summary for the month of August in Austin. So I'm really gonna do three things in this video, and here's what they are. I'm just gonna go through like the super basic average and median prices for the city of Austin for the month of August in 2016. Then I'm gonna give you a really quick, like Mr. Raven's math lesson about average and median prices, about what average and median are. And then I'm just gonna end with some quick advice for buyers and sellers. So let's get started. So first off, in the month of August, let's look at all residential real estate. So we're talking new construction, existing homes, single family homes, townhomes, condos, anything you could purchase in Austin as residential real estate. The average price for a residential dwelling for purchase in August was $407,210, and that's up 8.3% from this time last year. Now, median prices in Austin for a residential dwelling for purchase was $330,000, and that was up 10.3% from this time last year. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm not creeping on your car here. This is the best angle for this video I'm shooting.
Nothing is weird in Austin.
That's right. Okay, so now let's just look at single family homes, new construction and existing. So in August, the average price of a single family home in Austin was $436,298, and that was up 7.4% from this time last year. Now, the median price of a single family home in Austin in August was $354,000. That was up 10.6% from this time last year. Now, you'll notice the median was significantly less than the average. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so now what we're gonna look at is the difference between existing homes, like a used home, and new construction. So average prices for existing homes in August was $429,167. That's up 7.8% from this time last year. And median price of an existing home in August was $347,250. That was up 10.3% from this time last year. Now let's look at new construction. The average price of a newly constructed single-family home in Austin in August 2016 was $514,544. That's actually down 2.4% from this time last year. And the median price of a newly constructed single-family home in Austin was $449,000. That's up 7.8% from this time last year. Now, as far as what's available, in August, we had 2.5 months of inventory, and that's really, really low still. Like, in order to have a balanced buyers and sellers market, what we need in Austin is 6 months of inventory, and you might not exactly know what that means, and that's okay if you don't, but just believe me, we need 6 months of inventory for like an equilibrium market, and we have 2.5 months of inventory. So that's like less than half of the housing available to meet the need for people who want homes in Austin. Okay, so now I'm gonna put my former teacher hat on, and I wanna try to give you a quick math lesson. So first, let's talk a little bit about the terms average and median. So in math, these are what we call measures of center. So the three main measures of center are mean, median, and mode, otherwise known as average, median, and mode. Don't worry about mode for now. You don't really need to know that in real estate. But what we want to accomplish with these measures of center is we really just want to know, what is typical. So like baseball player typically gets 2 hits a game, and their average is 2 hits per game. You can usually expect, typically that baseball player is going to get 2 hits in a game. Or if you work at a coffee shop and on average you make $30 of tips a night, you would think, typically I make 30 bucks in tips, about 30 bucks in tips a night. Or if you work at a big school and someone says, oh yeah, the median number of kids per class is 25 kids. You'd think, oh, okay, well, typically there are about 25 kids in a class. So for some situations, it might make sense for you to use one measure of center over the other. And I think we have a classic case of that here. with this market report. So let me explain. Well, first I want to explain why the median and the average might be different from one another so drastically. So let me do that by giving you just like a quick example that has nothing to do with real estate. So let's imagine you're a kid or maybe you're a parent and you pay your kid an allowance for like taking out the trash, mowing the yard, not being a jerk, I don't know. And so let's say out of the 7 days of the week, Monday and Tuesday, you pay your kid $1 per day. You actually pay them $1 on Monday, $1 on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, you pay them $2 per day. Friday and Saturday, you pay them $3 per day. And then Sunday, something crazy happens. Maybe your rich uncle comes to town, or you just feel bad for underpaying your kid. I don't know. And for whatever reason, your kid gets paid $100 that day. Okay, so in all, your kid made $112 that week. So what we might want to know is, hey, well, they made $112 that week, but like typically, what do they make typically? So if we were to use median, that means we just line up the numbers in order. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and then 100. And you pick the number that's in the middle. So in our case, that would be 2. So that just means that half of the values in our set are at or below 2, and half of the values in our set are at or above 2. So what we would say, based on the fact that the median allowance is $2, we would expect, oh, this kid makes $2 on a typical day. And that's true. But if we were to use average as our measure of center, then we would add up all the numbers, which equals 112, and we would divide that by the number of days, which is 7. So if we were to do that, we take 112 divided by 7. That gives us an average of, I think, $16, if I did my math right. So what we would conclude with this example is that this kid makes $16 on a typical day. Well, sure, the average is 16, but based on our example, I don't necessarily think that average would be the best measure of center to use to find out what's typical, because really the fact that this kid made $100 on one day is kind of an anomaly. So you can see that when we use median, we came out with a typical value of 2, and when we used average, we came out with a typical value of 16. Very different numbers. So why was the average so much higher than the median? Well, it's because there was that one crazy high value, $100 in a day. Not normal. So when you apply that to our real estate market numbers, on every single category that I just read to you at the beginning of this video, the median was significantly lower than the average. So what that tells us is that there are a few number of probably very luxurious, very expensive homes that are really distorting our averages. So if we really want to know what type of price is typical in Austin, I would argue that we should use median prices. So let's look again at average and median prices for all residential dwellings in Austin. So remember, the average was like a little over $407,000, which is a lot, but our median was $330,000. Now, in my opinion, that's still a lot, but it's not quite as scary as $407,000. So all of that to say, if you want to know what's typical in Austin as far as price, I would look more at the median. So I would think more in the lower to mid 300s. I hope that made sense. It feels good to be teaching math again. Okay, so to end this video, let's talk about how this might apply to you. So I would say this piece of advice actually applies to you no matter if you are a buyer, a seller, an investor, a renter. I would say if you plan on doing any sort of real estate transaction in Austin in the near future, what you need to do is get your financial ducks in a row as soon as you can. And if you watch enough of these videos, I probably sound like a broken record right now. But if you're buying, it's obvious that you need to get hooked up with a lender, because a lender is going to lend you the money that you need to buy a house. So you need to get in contact with them and let them really set you up for success as a buyer. Now, as a seller, you still need to get your financial ducks in a row, because if you're selling your house in Austin, chances are you are doing that in order to purchase another house in Austin, which is great, but you still need to have a plan in order to make that happen as smoothly as possible for you. And if you have any questions about how to do that, do not hesitate to holler at me. My contact info will be below this video. So guys, if you have any questions at all about buying, selling, leasing, investing in real estate, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you need the contact information of a great lender, let me know and I'll hook you up. All right guys, that's all for today. Stop by Quack's. The Marvelous Morning Muffin is to die for. Guys, I hope to see you sooner rather than later. Bye.